So they were recording me? So they were recording me?
That was Steve Nesbitt, CEO of Cliffwater, who is our hedge fund and private equity consultant. My name is Dr. Rudy Fichtenbaum, and I am a professor emeritus of economics at Wright State University. I was recently elected to the board of the State Teachers Retirement System of Ohio. The purpose of this recording is to set the record straight regarding misrepresentations about the proposal made at the November board meeting. It has been widely reported that the proposal had, quote, already been rejected by STRS investment staff and an outside consultant, unquote. Let's see why Mr. Nesbitt is so nervous. Cliffwater's first reason not to move forward at the November public board meeting.
Number one, reliance, and this deals with the strategy in the firm, reliance upon an investment strategy not used by other institutional investors to our knowledge.
Let's listen to the due diligence call.
Hoop is doing this with, I believe, 2 counterparties.
And Hoop, the Healthcare of Ontario pension plan, has taken the least amount of risk and gotten the highest return of any pension in North America for the past 20 years. Cliffwater, again at the November public board meeting.
When we did our due diligence about a year ago, no mention was made of Hoop and this Canadian pension plan. And in due diligence, no one brought it up.
Let's check those due diligence tapes again.
Hoop. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Hoop, Steve. Healthcare of Ontario pension.
No.
So it's our understanding Hoop is the most sophisticated pension in the world by a large margin. They're very.
No, that's CalPERS. They say that all the time.
Once again, Cliffwater at the public board meeting.
3, requirement that STRS commit most of its assets to QED as scale is critical to its investment strategy, thereby eliminating STRS' ability to, quote, test drive the investment strategy. A year ago, they insisted they needed virtually all the money. Now, evidently, it's 250 million.
Yeah, that's just
Maybe
not, that is just not a true statement.
That is true.
It is not
Wait a second. Let him finish, and then you can have your comment.
That was told to me several times.
Yeah.
Okay. 4.
I listened to the 4-hour conversation.
Then you know.
With him.
So they were recording me? So they were recording me?
Yeah.
Let's check those due diligence tapes again, just in case.
It's not all or nothing by any means.
Right.
So hopefully
Right,
I kind of answered your question.
Yeah, again, thinking like, given your experience in the different components here, it sounds like, there's a lot of pipes, a lot of counterparts, a lot of moving parts, but they can be somewhat, split off and siphoned off if you wish to start something on a different scale without having to implement, everything all at once and kind of proof of concept and then build from there. That sounds like something you're.
Yeah, and we put in the deck, I don't know if you can see the deck, a pilot.
Matt, are there any facts, analyses you would feel are material to the board's decision of where to go from here?
Yeah, I would highlight the trade proposed by QED. And interesting, if you go back to the slide that has the downturns in the market, we modeled that trade back to 2009, and the system would take a $21 billion loss.
The slide Mr. Worley referenced was not a trade, but rather a drawdown case study showing the negative correlation of funding costs with market corrections. It was meant to show during a market downturn, the cost of borrowing goes up, which means that if you can provide liquidity to the market, the fees you can charge will go up. What Mr. Worley claims to have tested is his own strategy, which he says lost $21 billion. Since Mr. Worley could not describe in precise terms his strategy, it is impossible for me to replicate it. However, it would not surprise me if the strategy Mr. Worley developed lost money. It is worth noting that STRS took a $31 billion loss during the Great Financial Crisis. Staff doesn't seem to understand the strategy, so how is it possible they vetted the strategy on multiple occasions?
Mr. Merrifield made a comment that we haven't vetted this strategy. I do believe there's not any substantial difference between what was presented today, Mr. Worley, versus what was vetted by our staff on multiple occasions. No. Right. Yeah, correct. So our staff did properly vet this.
STRS is approximately a $100 billion pension and is relatively unique because 70% or approximately $70 billion is managed internally by 120 investment staff.
What happens to the staff that's already working this?
It's $65 billion. I don't know if you sell all the assets. Maybe we don't need the rest of the staff.
In this audio clip, Mr. Nesbitt says he's not qualified and will no longer get paid if we do this.
7, investment complexity that would considerably challenge the oversight responsibilities of board, staff, and STRS consultants. And at the time I said I would not be qualified, I could not be a consultant to a fund implementing this strategy.
Board members presented the strategy, so I think we can provide oversight. Unfortunately, Mr. Nesbitt had to leave before we could ask questions about his report.
So anyway, those are my 10 findings. I apologize, but I do have to catch this plane to help other clients.
Thank you, Mr. Nesbitt. Safe travels.
Isn't asking Cliffwater and the STRS staff to vet our proposal a little bit like asking a person on the guillotine to vet the executioner? Could it be they are more interested in saving their jobs than saving our pension? You decide.